Okay, let's get everyone in. And all.
All right. Hey, everyone.
So we can. Okay, so for our students, oh, Eric is here. Great. Okay, finally. Okay, other ones are coming. So by the way, all participants, this is a recorded session. If you have any troubles, so you should be aware of it. Okay. And chat. Okay, Eric, I guess you're here. Eric. Oh yeah. Okay, so you're muted. Great. Okay. Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fatih Gelgi. I'm the AlphaStar Computer Science Program Director. We have three marvelous panelists today. They're all former IOI gold medalists. So I'm going to briefly introduce them to you now, and then we will start our questions. Okay. So you see, you can hear the. I guess Andrew is still competing somewhere. And Andrew, you're not competing, right?
No, not right now. Sorry. I just.
No, you see how rigorous he is. Okay, I'm gonna introduce them. Yes, Steven and Andrew. Steven, they are both graduates of MIT computer science department. Steven is also a math guy. Andrew is also a math guy, but he doesn't hold a math degree. Do you have a math degree from MIT, Andrew?
I do.
Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. So if I do any mistakes, please notify me, okay?
I don't have a degree in CS, though.
What was it?
I don't actually have a degree in CS.
You don't have an actual degree? Okay, well, I made a mistake. So you seem to be a math guy, but you're not really a math guy. You're a computer science guy. Yeah, they're all actually math guys too, because they have they are former mappers. All of you guys went to map, right? Okay, yeah, that's right, as I remember. And also, Steven has a silver and gold medal. Andrew has 2 times gold medal. They were team members in 2014. I still remember it with Scott Wu and Joshua Breakensake, right, at that time. So they also competed in ICPC. They were team members at that time in 2016. So we actually solved the problem from 2016. The first problem in our exam 3 today was from ICPC 2016. And they are software engineers. They are also competitive programmers. And Andrew is really rigorous competitive programmer. If you check around, you know, any well-known computer CS contest like Code Jam, Hacker Cup, Top Coder, Code Forces, you will see he is one of the top guys in the rankings. Next, so these are just a couple of their short bios. And next, Eric. Eric was also gold medalist at 2018 and 2019. He was also team member at 2017. However, US team didn't go to IOI in 2017, unfortunately. That's why. And he's also team member, ICPC team member of Harvard. And he's gonna graduate soon, hopefully, from Harvard. He's also a math guy, as I mentioned. He's also a physics guy. He has a book, as far as I know, of physics books. So, okay. let's start our questions. Did I make any big mistakes? Andrew, Steven, Eric. So if you want to add something about yourself, please add.
Thank you. That was good.
I'm a climber. I like to climb and I like to unicycle.
You would like time?
Like indoor climbing, bouldering. It's a sport I do.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So next, questions. So you're curious about. I'm starting with some questions. Later on, we will, at the end of the session, we will take also our audience's questions. So we have, by the way, our panelists, we have very precious participants here. So they are USACO Platinum Division contestants and finalists, by the way. So that's why they're gonna benefit from you all. I believe they will be a huge advantage for them to meet with you guys. So how did you start competitive programming? Sorry, Steven, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I think throughout middle school, I was mostly just doing math contests. And one of my friends, Johnny, who I did like math counts with and AMC contests with, he had started doing USACO and he was doing pretty well. And he told me that I should try it too. So that's how I started.
Great. Next, Andrew.
Yeah. I think there were a few things. I kind of I like Steven had done a lot of math contests all through middle school. I think I started kind of programming a little bit on my own in like 8th grade, and then I also heard about like Proco and stuff. And then I also went to MOP and met a lot of people like Steven and Scott, and I eventually met Johnny, and they kind of like pushed me a lot towards you know, getting more into it and doing a lot more practice. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Is that your cat, Andrew?
Yeah, she's.
Oh my god.
She wants dinner.
That's so cute.
Yeah,
Yes,
interesting to hear what you to hear what Steven, Andrew, y'all had to say. Yeah, similar. I started in like middle school actually. I was like, I think this is actually how I started programming as well. So yeah, I kind of just started with the USACO. Did a contest, you know, advanced past divisions at the time, and yeah, just thought it was very fun. And then I did a bunch more contests after that. But yeah.
Okay, next question. So what are some common pitfalls people run into when preparing for USACO? Yes, this time let's start from the other way. Okay, Eric, your turn.
Yeah, so in terms of pitfalls, I think, let's see, it's been a couple of years since I've done USACO, but yeah, I think in terms of a lot of things, I think people like generally increase in like steps. Like they start out with like a certain level, they can like do a certain number of problems, and then like you like work really hard and you feel like you're not like making progress, but then like after a couple of months, you come back to it and you realize like you've grown a lot, right? And it's just kind of like, you know, like you'll have your ups and downs, but like at the end of the day, I think as long as you're doing more problems, like you'll still be in like an upward trajectory in terms of what you can do. So I just keep at it.
Andrew, your turn.
Yeah, I guess one thing is people probably, I think this is true in a lot of cases, but people can probably spend more time working on fundamentals and stuff. So by fundamentals, I mean kind of basic implementation, standard data structures, and just making sure that, you know, if you can describe it in a sentence or two, you can code it, you can implement it. So I think it's pretty important to have like that level of comfort and familiarity.
Steven?
Yeah, I guess I can list a few. So one thing is I think not practicing enough. Like if you want to get good, you have to do the work. Another one is trying to do it all by yourself and not like seeking I guess, advice, mentorship, or consulting resources. I think it's like no one, like, unless you're like Donald Knuth or something, like, can invent all this stuff on their own. At least it'll take you very long to figure things out from scratch. So yeah, I think just making full use of existing resources is a good idea. And then also one final thing is like not going outside enough. Because like programming, you know, it's a very tiring thing. You're just looking at a computer all day. If you're typing, at least. If you're just thinking about problems, that's a bit different. But like, I feel like a lot of people, if they like get really deep into the academic world and like programming and math contests and stuff, like they don't, you know, invest as much time in their social life or just like staying physically healthy. So I think that's another common pitfall people do when they prepare for USCO.
Thank you. Let's get to the next question. Okay, so this is about your IOI experience. So, so when you went to IOI, how did you feel? How was the atmosphere? You know, when you went there. So any different than the other competitions? And then how was your competing experience? Somewhat similar or different than the other ones? Yes, this time let's start from the other way. Steven?
Oh, I guess just overall, it was very fun. Just I was representing my country, trying not to make a fool of myself, but also just enjoying it. I was with my team members, my teammates, and we were like all very close friends. So we just had a great time. It's kind of like vacation. And then it's also a bit stressful because there's a competition going on. And yeah, overall, I think it was more fun than I expected. It was not as like, I think it was intense because we we're all like trying to do well, but it's like, it also felt like more of just like a big hangout session than I expected.
Yeah. IOI has a lot more going on than just like the contest. Like it's like a 1 week, or like they're like 4 or 5 days of actual things, but like only 10 hours of contest. So there's a lot of hanging out outside of contests, and I think there's a lot of hanging out with your team and meeting other teams and things like that. And I don't know, it can be stressful, but I think it's better if you don't actually stress too much about the contest until you're actually in the contest hall. But yeah, I think it's fun. I think it depends on your mindset, but I think the mindset ends up being like the mindset of the contest itself ends up being pretty similar to like a camp contest or anything. That the stakes are there, and by the time you make IOI, you kind of understand what it feels like to be in a contest where you want to win a lot. So I don't think that's try not to stress too much about that.
Yeah, like what Andrew said, like for me, well, it's very different. Like the atmosphere, like the kinds of excursions you go on, the people you meet is very different depending on like the organizing country. But yeah, in terms of the contest itself, I think like once you've made IOI, you've already done all the hard work. The IOI itself is not like that stressful of a contest. Just because like, you've taken so many contests in the past, this is just like the closing one, right? So if it gives you a really nice sense of satisfaction of like, this is the last contest, like a bit of closure. But it's the same, I think, as you'd get out of any other like final contest.
Great. Okay, next. So how is that competitive programming affected your life after graduating high school, of course? Yeah, so, I mean, Andrew, Steven, you already graduated from college, and then Alex, you are in still college. So any effects, any differences? If suppose you didn't have any competitive programming experience before. Yes, let's start with Eric then.
Yeah, so I think you realize like really quickly, like in college at least, that like people struggle a lot with algorithms, right? Like algorithms is supposedly one of the hardest classes you take in undergrad CS. And if you go through competitive programming, I think you are basically done with algorithms class. So that is a plus. But yeah, speaking more generally, like I think competitive programming gives you a really useful skill, which is to know like how fast a program will run before you write it. And indeed like to optimize a program while you're writing it. And be really fast at debugging, etc. And like these are all really good like fields for engineering in general. Yeah. Disadvantages. I can't really think of any disadvantages. But yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, I think competitive programming definitely has had like a lot of impact on my life. I think like first of all, obviously like being able to meet all these people, like and kind of work with them, and I've kind of kept working with them, and I know I guess right now I don't actually work at a company with any of them, but in the past I've definitely worked at places with like Scott or I guess not at the same time as Steven, but things like that. So that's definitely one thing that kind of you get, which is like this it's just a good way to network. Another thing is I think there are things in competitive programming that there's a lot of software engineering that's not competitive programming that you don't really learn doing competitive programming, but there's also a lot of skills that just transfer over. Like at the end of the day, like writing more code makes you a better software engineer. So doing that like is it's definitely been an advantage. At the same time, there's still a lot of other things to learn beyond just like algorithms and implementing algorithms. So explore and find something you like.
Okay, Steven?
Yeah, I think East Coast definitely had a big impact on my life. Like even now, I think it's been like 7 years, but I'm still like, I still wake up for code courses contests. It's because it's just really fun. So in that sense, I think it's helped me have just like a lifelong hobby that I just really enjoy. And obviously the people I do it with, they're my closest friends, and I think they will be for a very long time. And then advantages, I mean, I think Andrew and Eric have covered it pretty well, but like I work at a startup right now, a tech startup, and whenever I see USCO on someone's resume, I'm like internally just giving them kind of a +1 because I think it's a very strong signal for people who would make good just problem solvers in general, whether that's coding related or otherwise. Disadvantages, I think I haven't really felt too many disadvantages personally. But I think one thing that is easy to mistake is like USCO is not like the only measure of like how good of a programmer you are. Like I know it's called competitive programming, but not every good programmer does competitive programming, and it's like very naive to think that. So like, yeah, even if you're like #1 or whatever, it doesn't mean you're actually #1. So that on the other side, it also means even if you're not good at competitive programming, it doesn't mean you're bad at programming. So it's just like, that could be a disadvantage if you let that false dichotomy, or what is it? The false equivalence hold you back or something.
Great. So I would like to add a couple more things to this one, to what you said. Later on, for instance, even I was doing my PhD, I wrote a paper. It was from a Olympiad problem, so it's during PhD time. And then you see later on too, if you go for academia, I mean that's a huge plus. And in addition, so as you said, your friends, right? Your environment. You see, you're working with that skilled people. Really makes you satisfies you. We still have our team at AlphaStar Academy. They are former Olympians, and I like working with them. And also in real life, you are using those skills, especially computer science skills. So for instance, I mean, when you have family, you're raising a kid. So you have a lot of taking, you're solving those kind of problems. For instance, you see that people are using the depth first method in many problems. They fail, they go deep down, and then you know it. So sometimes you have to take breadth first search, breadth first solutions, okay, in real life, when you're running a company and so on and so forth. So I'm using all those skills in the life too. So it was very helpful. So by the way, of course, I'm biased. I'm a computer science guy. Okay. The next question, future, yeah, career paths. I said a couple of things about this. Yes, Steven, any additions to this one?
Yeah, I mean, kind of talked about it already, but like there are a lot of companies out there, like especially in the finance world, but also in just the tech industry, where if you have USCO on your resume, it's a big boost to your just like higher ability. And I think it makes sense. Like even if it feels like, oh, just because you know how to write Dijkstra's really fast doesn't mean you know how to build like an actual like application or anything, but it is strongly correlated. Like people who are good at competitive programming will pick up software development skills really quickly. And oh yeah, Eric actually interned at the company I work at, Scale, and yeah, he did great. And I mean, Eric's already been learning a lot of software development on his own, and he's probably not like representative of the average competitive programmer coming into software, but like he is like a very strong data point. That's like, if you are good at competitive programming, you will probably be good at almost all kinds of programming.
Andrew?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you have a lot of career paths open to you. I think, like, as Steven said, like, as competitive programmers, you'll have like a very good, like, you'll have a pretty relatively easy time learning kind of anything, particularly like technically with software development or anything like that. There are a lot of avenues in like academia that you could take, and there are a lot of doors, and I think I don't know. I think you have a lot of options open to you, from like software to like I don't know, AI research, algorithms research, theoretical CS, math. Like there are a lot of different things that you could do. So there's I think, especially if you're going to college and planning on staying there for 4 years, you'll have a lot of time to explore. Otherwise, I guess you will have to explore more quickly.
Eric?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. I appreciate those words. Yeah, so like Andrew said, I think, so every year at USCO Camp, for those of you who've been to USCO Camp before also, like, so there's like the talk that people have, which is like industry versus academia. Well, maybe Andrew and Stephen had this too, I'm not sure, but at least when I went to USCO Camp, Brandon did this. Yeah, it's like a big question. I think it's like a question in general in CS. And yeah, honestly, I don't have like any good opinions on this. Like I'm still a sophomore in college. But what I will say is that like I have had like a lot more IMs to like various things I wanted to do, like in terms of networking with people, building things with them, doing research with professors, and getting internships, for example, due to some of these skills I picked up from competitive programming. So it's been very useful.
Thank you. So our next question. Okay, so we have time. We can get questions of our participants. Is anybody who wants to ask question? So we have actually a written question. How well known? Sample this. Okay. So yeah, participants. Anybody who wants to ask any question, either written or you can just ask your question. Okay, so one question is, what do you think can be done to increase participation in USACO? First of all, the question was, let me ask this question too. How well known is USACO outside of competitive programmers? Yes. Andrew, we can start from you, probably. You're muted right now.
Yeah, just to answer the first question really quickly, USACO is not particularly well known outside of competitive programmers, especially outside of people who have done it. A lot of people like haven't even started programming when they were eligible for USACO. Like most people, most high schoolers don't do it. So it doesn't have that much recognition. Some contests have a little more, like I don't know, some like Google Code Jam and stuff have a little more recognition. Partially just because there's Google in the name, but it'll vary. But yeah, in terms of increasing participation in USACO, I think it's a pretty tough problem. I don't know if there's any like easy answer. I think like, I don't know, the website and the training pages and more resources becoming available is definitely like helping. I wonder if recently like there's been more overflow from the math community. I don't know if that's kind of ramped up recently, but that might have helped. Might help. I'm trying to like stream like doing competitive programming, which might also be the kind of thing that helps. But I don't know. There are a lot of like it's a pretty tough question to kind of market any program to high schoolers. So I don't know.
Anybody who wants to add to Andrew's answer? Eric, Steven?
I don't have too much to add for like how well known it is. It's basically not well known at all. Because most people who start programming don't start until they're in like college or after. And then increasing participation in USACO. I mean, honestly, it's just getting parents to know about it. I think a lot of times in like middle school and high school, parents have a very large influence on what the kids actually do. And I also think like, if you're following the trends, like the average salary of like engineers has been going up and will probably keep going up for a while. And I think that will be like the ultimate driving force of people getting interested in CS as a career from the early ages. So I don't think like, I think the overall trend is looking pretty good. Like I think participation will continue to increase year over year, but like what we can do in particular is, as Andrew said, help make resources available. I think Ben's been doing a great job with useco.guide. If you guys haven't heard of that, you should definitely check it out. Benjamin Cheese, I think, working with a few people to make like a collection of resources designed to teach you how to succeed at USACO from any level.
Nathan, didn't you, I think Nathan might have been part of the team for that.
Oh, is Nathan here? Oh, cool.
Yeah, I just wrote the website. Ben did all the writing.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great.
Huge shout out. It's an awesome site.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like what they said about like being well known as an industry. It's true that most people won't know what USACO is. In terms of what can be done to increase participation, I'm honestly not sure. It does seem like once you're in college, competitive programming is not really something that's like necessarily the best path to getting hired. It seems like if you want to get hired, like the trick is to study interview problems and then build projects, I think is the most common path. But yeah, in terms of high school, I do think that like competitive programming is really fun, and like it is like one of the few places that is both like completely, I guess, merit-based, like unbiased, and also that like anyone can learn just like completely from online resources, which is really exciting, I think. So yeah.
Yes, so I can add a couple things here. Normally, if USACO is more credible, like the math contests, if so the colleges will acknowledge USACO more, then more people will come into USACO. I mean, and then it can be that way. So the college pipeline is really helpful for that. Yes, that's why I think math contests are much more popular, because that's one of the reasons. In the applications, college applications, so they are asked specifically for your scores, your Aiml scores. USACO is getting better in that way, but it should be more credible. So right now it's all online. It's hard from college perspective too. Okay. Another question. Yes. Could you talk a little about your college experiences, like social life, classes, and opportunities? Yes. So this time, let's start with who wants to start? Yeah, it's up to you guys. Anybody who wants to start?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm in college. Okay, go for it, Andrew.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's, I guess, a lot of social life, a lot of classes, and a lot of opportunities. So I don't know. I think college is a pretty fun time. There's definitely, especially there's definitely a lot of people that you can find with similar interests, a lot of people you can find with different interests, and just a lot of friends you can make in college. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's pretty different than high school, I think, at least. There's I don't know. There's all kinds of socializing you can do, but I don't know if there's anything in particular I can point out. In terms of classes, there are also a lot of classes you can take by college, particularly if you go to a research institution, quote unquote. You'll have there will typically be plenty of grad level classes. Arbitrarily hard classes you can take to your heart's content. So if there are, you'll be able to find something to learn. And there are also plenty of opportunities in college. There's always opportunities for internships or co-ops. There's opportunities for research and kind of working with professors and things like that. And all of these are really good opportunities that you should definitely try and take advantage of, and kind of test out the waters while you're kind of in college and don't really have kind of free to experiment. So I think there's there's a lot. So in terms of my college experience, I socialized. I took a lot of CS classes. I did. I think I took mostly just grad CS classes off the bat, just because I've had experience programming and doing some development. One class I really liked was distributed systems, and I also did some kind of undergraduate research, a little bit into complexity theory, and I ended up deciding that I liked software engineering and development more. So that's kind of a good learning I've taken, a good learning I've had. So yeah. I don't know. Eric, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm in college right now. Yeah, so I go to Harvard. In terms of college experience, you definitely meet a lot more people who are willing to be your friends, at least nominally. Yeah, and you're just surrounded by a lot of people who are very smart and good at different things, but generally understand regular people very well. And yeah, this is very exciting. You can get a lot of things done that you can't in high school. The other thing that's really normalized is that in high school, unless you go to an extremely exceptional high school, you live in Bay Area or you go to TJ or Exeter, you won't have good STEM classes, right? The toughest class you'll have at high school will be BC calculus or something maybe. So in college, this is the starting point, right? as Andrew said, you can take arbitrarily hard quote unquote classes, but you can also just take like classes, and these classes will already just be like so much more engaging than anything you take in high school. But like it is like still like it won't be difficult given that like as like competitive programmers, you probably are used to like learning it from like these outside resources, right? But it's just like very different to have this like structured kind of learning that's at like a very high level. So, yeah.
Steven?
I don't really have much to add. I think college, like, it's pretty much the same as I think most people going into college. You're just opened up to a whole new world of like people that you get to meet and classes that you get to take. And it doesn't really matter what background you come from.
Okay. Our audience, any other questions? Keep waiting for 5 more seconds. Okay, question. Is AI ML closely related to competitive programming? Yes, AI guys. So, Steven, you are an AI guy, right? So you're, okay, great. Eric, you're too. You are doing a lot of machine learning projects. I'm following you. Okay. And then Andrew, I'm not sure. I see you always doing competitive programming. I don't know what work you are doing. Okay. So, yes, anybody who wants to start?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I keep conflicting with Andrew. Yeah. AI ML. So, like, ML has a lot of statistics, and statistics is math, and CP also have a lot of math, and I think that's how they're related, like the closest relation. In terms of like actually implementing things, like you're not going to be writing like, I mean, it's important to have like good asymptotic complexity, but you're not going to be writing like C++ programs that like process data and stuff. Like you're going to be using much higher level tools like data analysis pipelines like Spark or like pandas, data science stuff, you know, deep learning libraries. And this is like not really the same kind of programming as competitive programming. But I think like how they're really related is just in terms of this mathematical background that you need to implement AI models or ML models. Also, like, yeah, you can start machine learning at any time in college.
Yeah. ML, I don't know. If you go to, they don't typically have these problems on monthlies, but there are like plenty of like ML or like heuristic problems that you'll see at camp and at IOI, a lot of like output only problems and stuff. So those obviously like are pretty similar to kind of ML, particularly like more classical ML. So there's a lot of like similar intuition, a lot of similar like problem solving. It's different obviously, but a lot of things are different. So it's, you know, it's like reasonably related, and it's definitely like, as I said earlier, like coding experience is coding experience. So that kind of skill will always transfer.
Yeah, for me, I think it depends on how you define competitive programming. Because there's like, sure, there's the standard set of like use of code, code jam, code forces, etc. But then there's also kind of like sibling contests, I guess. Like there's Kaggle, there's like, I think something called like battle bots or something. There's where you like control AIs to fight each other. And these are all like programming things that are competitive, but maybe we don't naturally think of when you say competitive programming. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think there's like too much direct transfer of like the hardcore like data structures and stuff. Like you're never gonna really need a splay tree in I don't know, when you're implementing your neural networks. But like I think as with most mathematical concepts and like just knowledge-based activities, like the more you know, the more domains you're familiar with, the more like stuff you have to draw upon when you're learning new things. And it's like really the exercise of learning new things quickly and like understanding them, that transfers really well. So it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. Like if you're learning like data structures or algorithms or like math, physics, chemistry, whatever, it's just the exercise of learning that stuff that will transfer really well when you're learning a new thing later.
Okay. I would like to add a couple of things to that. I did my PhD in machine learning, so I'm also an AI machine learning guy. I totally agree with our panelists, all of them. In addition, if you go to academia, so as Andrew said, that skill, problem-solving skill, is very critical. So so you work with the teams. You know, you have team members when you're doing research. Your colleagues. There are lots of engineering work, you know, collecting data and so on and so forth in machine learning. My colleague was pretty good in that. I was not doing that. I was a theory guy, so I was working on a theory. At that times, it's been actually more than 10 years, so it may not apply exactly today. But machine learning is very statistical, right? Especially now. But in AI, you will see a lot of algorithms you learn. So you are using them too. So core AI, yeah, I mean, and then when you are doing AI research, by the way, machine learning AI, what is the difference? It's, you can say, subcategory of AI. So machine learning is subcategory of AI, a small branch. So AI is too broad. So that's why you use those skills a lot when you're doing AI machine learning research. And as I said, that problem solving skill is very critical. I mean, it really helps you a lot too, because in machine learning, especially in academia, you will see that they try a lot of models. So when you are writing a paper, they say, okay, we tried 20 models, and then it improved 1%. You know, I mean, we do 1% better than the other ones. So if you ask those guys, why did it better, 1% better, why it's better, the model is better, they can't answer it mostly. So good guy, I mean, really good machine learning guys are the ones who really understand the theory and do the experiments and so on, but mostly they don't understand the background of it. Mostly the Olympians or like-minded people understand the theory part of it much better than that. And then when you write a paper, then you see that's solid. So you know what kind of, because mostly people pick the data they would like to, support their models. So they are picking that. So I already know that data works with your model pretty well. So why do you choose specifically that part of the data? So pick random data, or there are some data sets out there you have to use and test your data. And so that sort of stuff. So as a summary, the theory is hard in machine learning. It's hard to understand. I can give an example. Data scientists, they are looking for a lot of data scientists today, and and then data scientists, they are learning a lot of machine learning tools to use them, but the theory part, they don't know much about it. So the real machine learning, it's one more step than the data science. Okay. Yes. You can say anything. I mean, you can say if anything wrong, you can fix it, guys. Here's our. We can get one more question if you guys like. We have 2 more minutes.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, by the way, Fatih, that like broader AI, if you're looking at kind of more traditional classical methods, have a lot of algorithms in it. Once I presented like a model that I trained, but it was really just like BFS under the hood. And then a bunch of researchers were asking me like, oh, wow, how many GPUs are you using for that? That's really impressive. But yeah, it was just BFS.
A big part of modern robotics planning research is just finding better heuristics for shortest path. It's really embarrassing,
Yeah,
actually.
Right. Swarm robotics has the other lot of stuff. And okay, let's ask our last question. So, what are the best practices you can recommend for competitive programmers, or any other general recommendations? And then with these questions, we can finish our program. Okay. Yes, who wants to start?
Oh, subscribe to Eknerwala.
That's nice. Okay, so you heard it, guys. Okay.
For competitive programming, I think do a lot of Code Forces contests. Do a lot of past IOI contests on WCI, PEG, or other online judges. Yeah, and you should be fine.
Yeah, I think it's good to. I think it's important to, like, if you want to get better, it's important to practice a lot. But you should also make sure you're having fun while practicing. If you're not having fun, like, try not to burn yourself out doing, just some contests. But at the same time, practice can help a lot, and you can, just grinding implementation and stuff can be very valuable. Even like just problems you know how to solve but have long implementations are just good practice that a lot of people don't really like to do. Yeah, I think beyond that, like, there's a lot of things other than competitive programming that, like, competitive programming kind of sets you up to do, and you should take this opportunity to kind of branch out, especially as some of you guys go to college and things like that. It's definitely a lot of opportunities that you guys should keep in mind.
Okay, so it's thank you very much to all of you guys. So it's almost the end of, actually, it's end of our program. I would like to thank you, Andrew, Eric, and Steven, especially Steven. Steven is running the contest since morning. Andrew was also joined him. I mean, it was a marvelous performance, and he discussed the questions, and now he's in our panel. Yeah, it was a very tiring day, I know. Yesterday he was also teaching the class. Yes, thank you very much to all of you. We'll hope to see you in other occasions, like other panels and so on. I mean, it was very helpful. I think it's very helpful, your experience especially. Very helpful to our young competitors. They're gonna go to college soon and so on. So I think they'll benefit a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks, Fatih, for hosting this and putting this together. I had a great time hanging out with the next generation and just chatting as well. So nice meeting everyone. Would love to just hang out more at some point.
Yeah, it was nice to see you guys and talk.
Thank you all for coming. Yeah, great seeing you.
Yeah, thank you, Fatih, for organizing, and best of luck in any future contests.
Yes.
All right. Well, see everyone later.
Bye.
See you.